Hey everyone, welcome back to the Flipping Truth with Wes and David. We're going to talk a little bit about reselling today. So, like we've
Imagine
been
that.
doing every week, imagine that. It's like the topic of the week, right? Or topic of this podcast, at least.
Yeah.
We got a few subjects that we want to talk about today, and Wes came up with some good ones. So, you want me to start, or you want to start?
I'll start.
Okay, go ahead.
Thrift store pricing is getting more strange and wild as we go. Have you seen anything in your area where you're at? Differences in prices going up and up, or kind of maintaining the status quo?
Recently it seems like they've gone up a little bit. It's you know, I mean, I'm okay with paying some of the prices at the resale stores or the thrift stores if the item is right. But what I'm noticing a lot of is that, especially in the Goodwills, the items aren't there. It's just like they're doing something else with them. Obviously, they're selling them online now. They're doing whatnot and everything else. The local thrift stores or some of our smaller ones, like our waterfront mission and stuff, sometimes we'll still find some stuff there. Their prices are mediocre. The problem is, and I wonder if this is different in some areas, is that we live in an area that's considered, it's not really, but it's considered to be more affluent than other areas
Mm-hmm.
of the town. So I think some of the thrift stores that we have here are a little bit more on the side of, they're a little more expensive. I think they can get away with more, right? So they can get a
Right.
little bit more out of it. So yeah, I mean, I haven't seen big increases, but what I do see sometimes is just absolutely insane prices. And I'm almost 100% positive that they're looking at eBay solds and they're saying,
Oh
"Oh,
yeah.
well, this sold for $200. We should get $200 for it." And that's not going to happen unless that perfect person walks in and says, "Oh, I've been waiting to collect this, and I'm going to get it." And that doesn't always happen. So.
Have you noticed how they're cleaning up the stores in Goodwills? I've
Yeah,
seen, I know, three or four. They've brought in brand new shelving. They've painted some of the stores.
yeah,
I don't know if you've noticed that or not.
yeah. I've seen some of that, and some of some of the Goodwills that we have here is that they're trying to just clean them up a little bit. I do think maybe they're trying to change their image, but it really depends because it's my understanding that Goodwills aren't run by a corporate conglomerate; they're actually regionalized, right?
Hmm.
So our Goodwills are all regionalized to the southeast, what they call something. I forget what market it is, but I mean, there's like 15 or so Goodwills in that one market. So I kind of wonder if maybe it's really dependent on the CEO of that group or the whoever manages that group, of whether or not they update them or change them a little bit.
In the last 6 months or so, a lot of different changes. To I know at least three or four of them that I actually frequent.
Mhm.
A couple of them I don't go to anymore. I
Yeah,
just want
but
them.
don't you think that maybe they're trying to appeal to a broader market, maybe trying to maybe get away from the hey, we're just a cheap place to buy,
Mhm.
that they're really trying to appeal more to the buyers. I mean, I think that that goes a little ways for their image to try to do that, but at the same time, they're not. I feel like sometimes I not think they're thinking of the broader market because not everybody's going to go in there and pay. I've gone into Goodwill and I've seen a shirt that was $6.99 that probably costs $8.99 at Walmart, and this is
Right.
used. So I don't really, I don't know who's buying that, or who's buying the stuff that you can buy elsewhere. For used, you can buy it new for almost the same price. So I think that that's definitely, maybe they're trying to spruce it up, make it look good. You can say you put lipstick on a pig, right? Still a pig. So
Well, the sprucing up has been going on. I do know they have, like you said, an online presence now. I think that the managers of certain stores are cherry picking out and pushing those higher priced items on to corporate, and that's where they're selling those online. But they're allowed to do whatever they like to do, right? Um,
right.
they can
And
charge whatever they want, just like any other reseller can.
I mean, do you think maybe their models have changed? Because the way that I remember thrift stores, even like because even before I became a reseller, we still had gone to thrift stores because they were cheap. But it seemed like at that time it was get it in and get it out, right? It was move it fast. They would, get in stuff, price it right, sell it, and
Right.
it moves fast. You're turning over inventory constantly. But now it seems like we can go into a thrift store week one and go in 3 weeks later to see the same stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not turning over. They're sitting on it more. So it almost seems like they've changed their selling model, and it makes me wonder if uh, why are they doing it that way, or do they feel like the one-offs that they get that are more expensive are offsetting the what they used to fly through the market? So I don't know. I think they're honestly, I think they're stepping over nickels to make dimes, and that's what's happening. So.
Well, it's like I've gone in there and bought a bunch of hats before.
Hmm.
And now, in the last several weeks, I went in and looked at hats and thought I would buy that, but
Yeah.
it's a little bit more expensive now. And I'm
Yeah.
anxious to see if it's there next week. So I would go back in just to see, and the hat was still there.
Yeah. I mean, I used to go into the thrift stores and buy hats for $1.99, and
Mm-hmm.
I would buy them for $1.99 and sell them
Right.
for $15.99, and then I never have a problem with that. Or I'd sell them for $10.99. I mean, I'd make my money back. But now they're like $5.99, $7.99, $8.99. There's $10 hats in there, and you're just like, nope, can't do it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just not worth it. But I
It's
guess
kind of like this Pittsburgh hat. Does this look familiar to you?
I can't. I don't remember. Did you buy that from? Did I send that? I sent
You
that to
sent
you.
that to me.
Yeah, I sent that to you. No, I just didn't remember. Wait, it does look familiar. I sent that to
Yeah.
you. Yeah, that's right.
You
Yeah,
sent that one to me, and then let's see, over my shoulder right here, that's the
yeah.
Penguins hat right
The
there.
Penguins hat. Yeah, 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 yeah. I remember now.
But
So I forgot
yeah,
you're a
I'm
Pittsburgh
representing
fan.
Pittsburgh
You are.
Pirates today.
You are
But
today.
it's baseball season, and it's time to change with the new season.
Right.
But also, David, resellers need to change with the season as well, correct?
Oh yeah. I mean, we've got to pivot all the time, and I mean, if you're not changing, you're standing still. You're stuck in the mud. It's never gonna do anything. It's just like I mean. I think if as a reseller, if you really want to be successful at reselling, you can niche down, you can do well in your niche. And I'm not saying that you can't, because you can do well. I've done pretty well in my niches, but at the same time, I'm always looking for things that might sell, that might be a little bit better. So I'm reaching out a little bit. Like I've never done any ephemera, but I'm looking at an auction right now with a ton of ephemera. And I'm thinking seriously about picking some of it up because there's really cool ephemera. But so I'm trying to stretch out and kind of change a little bit and try to understand. And it kind of goes along with you've got to kind of shift sometimes your inventory. Just like I used to be when I first started reselling back in 2021, I guess probably. I was primarily selling hats. I thought I wanted to sell hats. That's all I wanted to sell. I just like selling hats. And they
Mm-hmm.
were our bread and butter for a while. I had at one point 1,500 hats in my inventory. I had like 8 bins of hats.
Wow.
But that kind of but you kind of started. What started happening was they started kind of going down. So they're uphill high, and then they started going down. And I still sell hats, but not at the extent that I was. So I think you got to shift and you got to pivot every once in a while to get to what's actually selling, because we want to keep the money coming in, and I don't want to go the way of the Goodwill or the thrift stores where we've just priced everything,
Right.
outrageous, and we can't move it, because the whole point of it is to flip inventory and get through it faster.
Well, I have a lot of hats myself, and just thinking about baseball coming back, a lot of those that I have are baseball caps.
Hmm.
So I'm going to go through my death pile, which I have a lot in there.
Yeah.
I know how we always show 3 or 4 items. I didn't want to show all those. Just kind of trust me on this. I've got a ton of them, but I'm working to get those on there, and maybe some baseball fans will pick those up and try to price them to where they will sell.
Right.
I
Well,
don't.
yeah, because I mean, but hats, don't you find hats are probably the easiest thing to actually list? I mean,
Oh yeah,
I find it pretty
oh,
easy.
yeah.
It's funny when you said you do hats, but I have this little thing what I use to do hats. This is it. This is a little blow up. It goes right up inside the hat. You
Oh,
keep it blown up. You can buy them, and I bought them. I have 4 or 5 of them, but I also use this if I was cleaning hats. Put the hat on there and clean it. After it's clean, let it dry, and it reforms. But when I take pictures of the hats, I've got this cool little thing here. You can see it actually turns. You can't really see it. Hold on a second. It has this little thing and it turns. So I can actually take pictures of hats.
Oh,
And as
wow.
it turns. So I will actually set this on my table. What I do is I set this on the table with the thing not facing away from me, right? So I can put this on there and I take the hat. So I take on, pictures. But hats are great. They're easy. You take a straight on picture, you take an up over picture, you turn it a little bit, you take that picture, you take the side picture, take the back picture, take the back half. It's just like boom, 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 boom. And you take picture of the inside and the tags. I mean, hats are great to list. I just haven't been selling as many of them. So we still have 5 bins of hats, but I can reduce that down to about 3. And my goal is to get it down to less than 3 and just say, okay, when my hat bin is full, you don't buy any more hats. So,
How many baseball hats do you have, David?
I mean, from a team wise, baseball hats, probably not that many. I probably maybe have 10 or 15. A lot of the hats that I have are, I have a lot of sports hats, and there's no doubt about that. A lot of different team sports, college team sports, and then a lot of pro sport hats. But I also have a lot of advertising hats. So like hats that, you just have weird stuff on it. But that's the weird thing. It's like, it'll be like Myers Electric, and then all of a sudden a Myers Electric hat will sell, and you're like, why in the world? Because I don't, somebody out there named Meyer or somebody wanted it. But, I have some of those, and I also have some vintage hats as well. So, but.
Well, I think this week for our listing goal, we need to put on at least 2 or 3 hats. Anyway.
Yeah, I actually have some that are in my death pile that I can list. They're not in here, but I will probably list some hats. Matter of fact, I will list some hats. Like I said, I still pick up hats when I can if they're really cool, but they're not as big of money sometimes, but like I said, easy to list. Get you the right tools. It makes it easy.
Mm-hmm. One of the last things I want to jump in is how to negotiate at yard sales. Do you do that, or, do you mess with it, or you just say, yeah, I'm just going to pay the price and move on?
It's really going to depend, Wes, on what it is. I mean, I will always try to get a better deal. I think that's just in me to do that. But there have been some times when I'll see something and I'll go, I'm not even going to mess with it. I just want this because I want it, because I know I can flip it, or I know it's good money or something I want. But, I will try to always negotiate a little bit. I mean, my background was in sales for a long time. So, I'm kind of understand the whole point of negotiations, and you can use a lot of different techniques. Never Split the Difference is a great book. If you've ever read it, if you haven't read it, Never Split the Difference. It's a fantastic book about negotiating deals. And, it really is about just using verbal and visual cues about trying to see, you will know right away sometimes if a person's going to make deals, right? You can kind of just see it in their eyes or see it when they say it. So I will always try to come in and, try to get a little bit better if I can, if I know I can. But, I know my margin. I think that's the key to negotiating is you kind of need to know what you think your margin is going to be on that.
Right.
Because, you don't, if they're off asking, $50 on something, you come in and offer 10, you're probably not going to get it. But, if you go and grab, 20 things and one of those things was 50 and you come back and you add it all up and you start negotiating, you use a few cues, like, when they give you a price, you say, you kind of don't jump right away. I kind of always just give it a little bit of a thought, like I'm thinking about it. And then I'll go, I'm not sure if I can do that, or I'm not sure how I can do that, and it'll just kind of start the conversation. But I think
that's one of the keys there, getting a conversation started.
Yeah.
You kind of figure out where they're at and maybe say, wow, you got some great stuff here.
Yep.
And sometimes they'll ask you, are you looking for anything in particular? Well, I like old toys. You kind of put that in their mind.
Yep.
Oh, and then some things you find they may not even have out there, and they'll go, oh, I have such and such. Let me go grab that.
That's happened on many occasions. I'll tell them I collect comics and, or TCG games or anything like that, or video games, and they'll say, "Oh, we've got some. Hold on," and they'll go back and get it, and or ask them for Blu-ray movies or whatever. You just
Right.
always get amazed at what they'll come back with. So it's really about just striking up that conversation, being friendly, and then when you get to that point, they'll probably be more willing to talk to you and more willing to deal.
Right. I always ask the question, how flexible are you on the prices?
Yeah.
That's usually where I start, and real quick
Yeah.
if you've got a shot at anything, really.
Well, when you walk into a garage sale and you see sold comps on eBay, what do you do?
That's north.
generally, that's exactly
Not gonna
right.
happen.
Yeah, I just walk out. I was like, or I just go and I just like, I go, wow, is this the pricing on this? And then now, if they strike up a conversation, I will, because a lot of times they won't put sold pricing. They'll put what the price is on eBay, right? This is $200 on eBay. And then, if we strike up a conversation, I have on many occasions said, I'm going to show you something real quick. And I'll show them on my phone, hey, this is how you look. And this is what this thing actually sells for. Because I was trying to negotiate on a Nintendo DS one time. And she was adamant, oh, this sells for over $250. I'm like, yeah, I go, I don't see one at all for $250, but let me show you something. And, I did show her that, yes, it would sell for about 160. And I said, I couldn't pay more than, whatever price I gave her. It was probably about half of that. Cause I said, I couldn't do any better because, I'm going to resell it. And she's like, yeah, I understand. And she goes, well, I'll just kind of lower it down to 160. I'm like, okay, good luck. Sometimes you
Right.
just can't win. I mean,
No,
they're in
yeah.
their head.
Well,
She's like, oh,
that goes, David, with sometimes you just got to take no for the answer.
Yeah. You
And
can
just
keep
move on.
pushing. You can keep
Right.
pushing, but then you become that butthead that nobody wants to be around. So
I just take no
I
and keep moving on because
yeah.
there's other stuff.
Yeah. But I think the trick to negotiating at garage sales is to build a big bundle, right? I mean,
yeah.
I'd rather go in and put down 10, 15 things and then get a better price. But
Right.
if some garage sales, you just can't find 10 or 15 things. You find 2 things. So you do your best, But
Well, I did a bundle the other day. I had some records and a couple of different knickknacks. And then I found this one thing, which is right now part of my death pile, but it's going to be part of my listed items. The John Deere.
Oh, yeah. Look at that coaster set. Nice.
Coaster set. Yeah. Really neat pickup.
Mm-hmm.
And I bundled everything together. And the lady originally told me $8 on this. And when I put 3 or 4 items with it, I said, could you do any better? She said, I don't think she will. And it was another lady's house. I said, okay, well, that's fine. I appreciate it. And she said, what were you thinking on the coasters there? I said, I would do 5 on those.
Yeah.
The coasters.
Yeah, the John Deere stuff will sell. I generally have pretty good luck with John Deere stuff, so
Right.
That's not bad.
But I told her, I said, I'll do 5. And she said, well, I just don't think we can do that. And I took no. I said, okay. I said, well, I appreciate your time. Thank you. And I stepped down off the porch. This was an estate sale I went to on Friday. And I stepped off the porch and I almost got to my car, which was about 30 yards away. Yeah. And I heard her hollering at me, sir. She goes, she said she'll take it. And I said, oh.
Well, I think sometimes they realize that they probably aren't going to get anybody else to pay what they want,
Right.
And they had a sale right there.
I mean, they had a sale and it's leaving.
It's walking away, And
that's what I was telling you, take no and say, okay. And it may give them an opportunity to second guess. What am I doing here? So, they sold it to me for 5. So I was happy about that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal. Yeah, the John Deere stuff sells. Sold a lot of their hats and some other like trinkets and stuff for John Deere. So there's the collectors are out there for them. So, But yeah, that's one good way of negotiating. Just kind of start to walk away. Be willing to leave the deal, and a lot of times it'll come back for you. So you've got your death pile pick. Have you got one to show today, or?
I do have a death pile pick, and I have sold this before. Okay, super cute.
Look at that. Electric cookie shooter. Yeah, for making spritz cookies, or what do they call them? Spritz, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Everything is in it. It's complete. It's tested. As of today, I tested it.
There you go.
It's got different things that you can make. Delicious deviled
Nice.
eggs. I think this is from late 70s, early 80s, actually. But there's every piece is in it. It will be listed tonight. I'll have it up and ready to go along with my John Deere stuff. Do you have anything for our
I actually do have a couple things, and I don't know why I've been avoiding this, but my two death pile things that I have this time. I actually have this. It's a Samsung. I'm not even sure what it is, honestly. It's like it's a SM1217, something like that. Anyway, it's a Samsung device, and it was at a garage sale, and I think he wanted 5 or something for it, and I was like, because I don't know if it works. And that's one of the things I said,
right.
Do you know if it works? He goes, I have no idea. And I'm like, well, that's kind of a chance. At $5, I mean, I'm just going to get a brick, right? And so I put a few more things with it, and I think it came to like $8. I said, would you take 6? And so I got 3 things. So it's $2 a piece. Came home, charged it up, connected to the network, upgraded it. It works fine. So it's not worth a lot. It's probably worth about $30, I think. But I thought, well, at first I was going to keep it so I could, test like stuff on DibDit and stuff like that. But I decided, I'm probably just going to sell it because I'll never use it, and I don't have any need for it. And then I also picked this up for $1.
What is that?
That is a Kindle, one of the older ones.
Oh, okay.
So, and it does work. Matter of fact, I mean, I got everything open. I basically reset it and took all her books off. So, but I need to set that out there. It's not worth a lot. Again, it's probably $10-15, but I need to get it listed just because it's sitting here. There's no
just
sense
sitting
in
there.
it.
Just you're not making money, so you might as well.
You might as well do something with it, right? So, but
so what about last week? Were you able to sell anything?
none of my death pile stuff that I was listing sold, but I mean, it was a good, last week's sales picked up a little bit, which is great. But they weren't setting the world on fire right now. So, but I didn't sell any of the death pile items, which is unfortunate, but I've gotten a lot of hits on it. So I've got probably sent out 3 offers on the sword and the mace thing. So we'll see. I think that'll sell pretty soon because it's getting to that cosplay season time.
Right.
So I think people will use it for that.
Well, there it is again, knowing your season, right?
Right. Well, that's a big part of it, right? So if you know your seasons, you know that things are going to sell. It's like, when do you start listing Christmas items? When do you start listing Halloween items? So I'll probably start listing some of that stuff, summertime, just because you want to have it ready. People want to buy it before the season comes and be able to, get it. So, yeah. So, I mean, just kind of knowing what's going on is important.
Yeah, my death pile was
Be
the same
aware.
way. It had a lot of hits and got some lookers on things, watchers. So
Yeah.
hopefully things will sell soon. But again, we're chipping away very so slowly at those death piles.
We are, and pretty soon I won't have anything to talk about, which is the goal.
I'll just show you the empty tubs I have.
Yeah, now I am going sourcing this week. We were headed out to South Florida, and so we're going to a really big flea market and just going to hit a whole bunch of thrifts and different things down there. So I'm going to build that death pile back up, money pile. So, but my goal now is to kind of list it as I get it, because that's been helping a lot, just trying to move through stuff, but I mean, there's always going to be something in the backlog that I don't. I think I actually do have something under my desk that I'll get next time and tell you, but it's a stuffed animal of sort. So I'm like, I probably need to list it too, just to get it out of the pile.
All righty then. Well, I guess, David, that's another episode of The Flipping Truth.
Yep, that's it, guys. That is it. And I hope everybody has a great week. And Wes, I enjoy the time with you. And I hope your death pile gets a little smaller.
Well, I hope yours increases, especially since you're taking that trip to South Florida.
Me too. I plan on packing the car and bringing it back, friend. So I'll tell you that much for sure. So, well thank you much,
safe, my friend.
I will. And thank you very much. We'll see you.
See you guys.